These woke-scapalians or Episcopokians or whatever they're calling themselves today, this is ridiculous. This was terrible. Donald Trump, I'm sure, regrets participating in this event today, to be lectured to and politicized in a church this way. And I thought it was, frankly, a disgrace to what they did at this event. I don't know if this event will happen ever again.
Here's Republican Scott Jennings absolutely roasting the Bishop of the Washington National Cathedral, Marianne Budd, for turning what was supposed to be a national prayer service into her personal TED Talk on woke politics. Instead of keeping it about faith and unity, she decided to virtue signal her way through the event like a self-righteous diva. Scott wasn't having any of it, and honestly, can you blame him?
Because of this particular bishop took it upon herself to turn this into a complete and total circus and spectacle. And I don't know any Republican today who's like, oh, wow.
Well, it was a very long...
People are people. Laws are laws. I mean, she was asking him effectively to ignore the immigration laws of the country, which is, I guess, her political preference. And she's also asking him to ignore his own political and personal values, and also to ignore the vast majority of Americans who have a different point of view on these issues. I agree with you. It's her right to say that. I would just say, I think she did her church, which is different today than it used to be, no favors today. And I don't think she did her political causes any favors today in the way she handled it.
I gotta say, it's pretty hilarious how the same Democrats and media folks who are always trashing religion and saying it has no place in politics are suddenly all about praising people like her. Why? Because she's basically a megaphone for their progressive agenda. It's like, oh, she agrees with us? Quick, put her on a pedestal. The hypocrisy is unreal. Anyway, let's check out this circus. Grab your popcorn.
It was supposed to be a unifying and bipartisan church service in the beautiful National Cathedral here in Washington, D.C. And I was there with President Trump, and everybody there was shocked and mortified by the disturbing comments from this bishop who chose to weaponize the pulpit. She had an opportunity to pray over the president and the vice president and their families who are sitting in the first pews. And she spoke about truth, which was very ironic because words later she spewed lies. She said that President Trump has called illegal or immigrants criminals. That's not true. He calls illegal immigrants criminals because, in fact, they are criminals. By definition, if you break our nation's laws, you are a criminal. She also talked about how LGBTQ people in this country may be disappointed. That's also a lie. In fact, I just saw Scott Bessent in the West Wing of the White House on his way to meet with President Trump, and he is the highest ranking LGBTQ official in United States history appointed by the president in the Oval Office right now. So the comments by that bishop yesterday were egregious, and she should, for the lies that she told. It's despicable.
You know, this isn't her first rodeo when it comes to twisting God's word to fit her political agenda. Seriously, she's like the go-to guest for establishment media anytime they need someone to spin a holier-than-thou narrative. And of course, she couldn't wait to hop on TV and try to pin the blame for violence on Trump. It's like she's got a script ready to go at all times.
You told the Washington Post yesterday, and I'm quoting, everything this president has said and done is to inflame violence. We need moral leadership, and he's done everything to divide us. Is there any way to begin to heal this breach that you're describing?
The police officials and officers who are moving into the crowds to speak to them, the people who are acknowledging pain and seeking to make fundamental change for the good of the nation, and in particular for the safety and dignity of Black and brown people in this country. So yes, there are any number of steps that any one of us can make, including the president, to heal the breach. But it isn't by inflaming emotions. It's trying to bring them down and trying to offer a word of unity rather than division.
Explain why this is so painful for you.
Well, first of all, this is an excruciating moment, a crisis moment in our country where we need healing, where we need reconciliation, and we need justice. And the president, after speaking the remarks that you summarized and clearing with tear gas and riot-geared police the park and the courtyard of our church, stood in front of St. John's and held up a Bible as if it were spiritual validation and justification for a message that is antithetical to the teachings of Jesus and to the God of justice. And so I felt in no uncertain terms that I had to disassociate us from that symbolic gesture.
This is just another classic case of the left loving the vibe of something, but not actually wanting the real thing. She was just there for the spotlight and to push her own agenda.